What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Denise, and for today's video we're finally having a baking video. Well, it's more like a decorating video because I have already pre-made and iced my cake. I'm just going to show you guys how to decorate a mini graveyard cake. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe. So let's just get right into it, guys. Alright guys, so starting off with the fondant colors, we have brown, black, ivory, green with a little bit of brown, orange, and green. We also have some fondant sculpting tools and some food coloring markers. Alright guys, so we're just going to start with the pumpkins. You're just going to want to take some orange fondant and roll it into a ball. It doesn't have to be a perfect ball because pumpkins aren't perfectly round. Now, using this fondant tool, you're going to want to insert some lines going up and down around your pumpkins. Now with the star tip, you're going to insert a little hole on top of the pumpkin. You're going to want to take a little bit of green fondant and roll it very thinly to create a stem. Alright guys, so moving on to the skeletons, we're just going to take a little bit of teal fondant and roll it into a ball. And with the fondant smoother, we're going to slightly press on it. With your pinky, you're going to tap on both sides to create a jawline. So with the help of my fondant tools, I'm going to create my skeleton's eyes, nose, and mouth. I also decided to just add some cracks around the sides and the top of the skull. Moving on to the arms, you're just going to want to roll some fondant into a log and flatten it out. You're going to want to slightly bend it halfway and flatten one end. Once again, I'm using my fondant tools to create my fingers and to give my arms some details. Now I decided to add some red marker just for some bloody effect. Next are the bones. Now these were pretty easy. You're just going to want to roll a little log any size you want because you can create any bone size you want. Now I'm going to insert a line on both ends down the middle. I'm going to take the ends and smooth it out with my fingers. Now with my pinky, I'm going to give it some shape. I'm also adding some red markers so it could look bloody. Alrighty guys, moving on to the zombies. We're just going to start off with the arms, and it's basically just like the skeleton arms, just that they're full with holes and red marker to make it look bloody. So for our zombie heads, we're going to literally give it a skull. We're going to poke some sockets and use some red sprinkles to give it some red eyes. Now to give it that zombie effect, I decided to just take some green fondant and roll it very thinly and just plop it on top of the skull. I used one of my pointy tools to release my eyes and to give my face some scratches and some holes. Now once again going in with the red marker just for some bloody effect. And finally for its mouth, I just used the black marker. Alright guys, so for the legs, you're going to want to do the same process as the arms. You're just going to want to fold it about 1/4 of the way and blend it. Now I ripped the top of my zombie leg and poked a hole in the middle. Now I took some ivory fondant and rolled it and put it in the middle to act as a bone. Moving on to the gravestones and the crosses, I used my black fondant to create my gravestones by using my fondant smoother to flatten it and round my edges. I also used my fondant tools just to scratch up some lines and use my black marker for the RIP sign. Now for the crosses, I rolled out 2 logs, one bigger than the other, and I stacked it on top of each other. I used my fondant tools to give my crosses some details, and I just decided to cut the ends. Alright guys, so moving on to our planks, I took my brown fondant and what was left of my black and just mixed it in. Fortunately, my fondant was a bit dry, so it did crack a lot. I cut my fondant into strips about 3 to 4 inches long. If your fondant is dry just like mine, it's perfectly fine. This is an old wooden plank. I just used my fingers to smooth out the edges and used some fondant tools to give it some extra texture. Now I'm going to take some Oreos and crush it up to use it as the dirt. Alright guys, so here I have an Oreo cake that I pre-baked and frosted, and we're just gonna go along and add our planks. Alright guys, so let's just get into it. Let's start adding some Oreos. The next thing I added was my gravestones and my crosses. Guys, don't be afraid to move these around because you can cover them up with Oreos at the end. Now we're going to start by putting our skeletons and our zombies, and we're just going to cover them with some Oreos. Alright guys, just to finish it off, I'm just going to randomly add my pumpkins. Alright guys, and that is it. It is time to cut the cake. Thank you all for watching my videos. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you and have a great one.